Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. Alright, so in this episode of Suicide or Murder, I'm going to be looking at the Debbie Collier case, and she had been last seen on September 10th, 2022, and she was discovered on September the 11th, 2022, having been discovered deceased. Alright, so I'm going to have a look at this case, and there is a bit of controversy around, was this suicide or was this a murder? And once we've looked at the Debbie Collier case, I'm going to add in Barbara Bearden, and I thought, let me just have a look and see what happened with her in relation to the two prime suspects. So I'll have a look at that after Debbie's case, alright? Alright, so let me take a moment to focus and tune in. Alright, so the start of the show is going to be a little bit different from what I normally do, and I thought in this case I'm going to share some of my background working. So when I started looking at the case and started developing it, I didn't have Debbie's date of birth, and I didn't have her daughters as well as the daughter's boyfriend. So what I thought I'd do is, just as an exercise, is put out the September the 11th back to September the 8th, in order for me to see what the numbers are saying leading up to finding a deceased person. So I had a look at the days leading up to the discovery, and this is what I came up with before finding out any other details other than the fact that Debbie was discovered on September the 11th. So I believe this is what happened. The death was caused, or the motive was ritualistic in nature, 16.7. It also feels like a petty crime in relation to the outcome of the crime. Example, that there was $2,385 in question here, and that number adds up to a 9, which is murder, versus the value of a life. Okay, it is definitely family related with the 6, and there were at least 2 perpetrators, 10-1 group, more than 1. Premeditation is made evident with the discussion of murder, 18.9, the day before on September the 9th. Okay? The presence of so many 6s is in relation to the severity of the death, unfortunately. We note on the following morning, September the 11th, a crime had been committed in 11.2, the nature of which is murder, 9, by people inside the family, 22 plus 6. The manner was extreme violence in the case, 8. The person who came up with the idea is 17.8 on September the 8th. Will more than likely, so the person who came up with the idea, or persons. So the person or persons who came up with the idea, 17.8 on September the 8th, will more than likely have a prominence of 8s and 6s in their profile. So just as a quick recap, I definitely, just looking at the numbers and knowing that there was a death at the end of this sequence, is definitely family related, more than one person, and they would definitely have a prominence of 8s and 6s. So let's just keep that in mind when I bring everyone in. But as usual, I'd like to just first have a look at who was Debbie Collier. At the time, she was 59, so that gives us the outcome 9. She was born on September the 2nd, 1963, so that gives us the 9, 2, and now, importantly, the 19-10-1 with 11-2-1 and a life path of 12-3. Now, I would just say this was a lovely woman, very friendly, community orientated with those 12-3s, very much family orientated, and with those 11-2s would always want to do the right thing. That is a power number, 11-2, and that is doing the right thing. And I would just say overall with the 9s, she would have good intuition as well, and loving connection with her family. Okay, and I just want to also just highlight here the outcome of the date of birth with the 9. So we'll notice when we bring in everyone else here, so I brought in her daughter Amanda as well as her boyfriend Andrew, and we will note that with Amanda as well as Andrew, we have the flux of 6s. With Andrew, with the life path 8. Now, in the previous intro, mass of 6s with also an 8. Okay, so we see the 6s both in Amanda as well as Andrew, as well as the Andrew having the life path 8. Very aggressive type person. 17-8, murderous intentions. And he also has the 19-10-1. And Amanda also has the 10-1, and we note that Amanda's life path is 16-7. So if we look at the day, I believe, of the murder, September 10, 2022, we see too many pinging on the same numbers as Amanda as well as Andrew. So on that day, we have the 9-10-1-6. Now, it's also to note here that there is a flux of 9s as well, right? We note all 3 characters have an outcome 9 in their date of birth, in their age at the time. So when you have so many 9s, that can either be, if we look at this from a positive point of view, if you have so many 9s, it's about ingenuity, extreme creativity, it's higher level thinking, lateral thinking. Really an awesome number to have if you require that kind of ability, innovative thinking, ingenuity, very higher thinking, higher level. And generally 9 is the self Buddha number, 1 with yourself. Now the opposite is obviously not 1 with yourself. And 9 generally brings around murder. Okay, so on the September the 10th, we see the impact of the 6s, which both Amanda and Andrew have. No coincidences there. We see on the day, during the day, as the sun was setting, 19-10-1 pings directly on Andrew, pings directly on Amanda, and pings directly on Debbie. All 3 were at the crime scene. All 3 were at the crime scene. So I believe what happened here is, I believe the idea was created by Andrew, backed up by Amanda, and Andrew being the doer, I would say in this case, but inspired by Amanda with the 16-7. So we see the outcome on September the 10th as well, 16-7. Now, in my opinion, there is no doubt whatsoever. No doubt whatsoever that Amanda and Andrew were present at the crime scene, responsible for the murder of Debbie Collier. Okay. Now that 16-7 is quite hectic, ritualistic in the sense that we can see how they burnt the body. They try to fake a random suicide. Now this, it reminds me of the Michelle O'Connell case, where also suicide or murder, but the case was ruled as suicide. But again, we have someone that shoots themselves twice, and yet it's still ruled a suicide. And the same situation in the Ellen Greenberg case, that someone could actually stab themselves 20 times and it gets recorded as a suicide. Come on, guys. So in this case with Debbie Collier, there is no doubt that Amanda and Andrew were responsible for Debbie's death. And again, you got to ask yourself, if someone burns themselves or sets themselves on fire, I mean, you either got to have a high pain threshold or take masses of narcotics or alcohol to knock out the pain in some way. But still, to set yourself on fire, you're not going to lie there while you're on fire. So this was premeditated murder by Amanda and Andrew. And I did read a report that the amount of money that was sent electronically, now that can also be wire fraud in America, huh? Sending money from someone else's account without the permission of the other person. You know, the amount of $2,385, which is a 9, a lot of 9s on this day, and the amount that was sent through apparently is very similar to the amount that Amanda and Andrew needed to pay off their debts. So, you know, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out, but I can definitely tell you without a shadow of a doubt, Amanda and Andrew were definitely at the crime scene and pings directly on Amanda as well as Andrew. So when I discovered all of this, I thought, let me go back, because while I was researching, I found that a few months prior, that Amanda's stepmom, Barbara Bearden, had passed away a couple of months before. So I thought, let me just go have a look and see if we pick up a trend here. And Barbara was born on December 21, 1959. Now, she also has a life path 12-3, which is very interesting because Debbie also has a life path 3, identical 12-3, and Barbara 12-3. This, you know, when I saw that, it raises another question. Did Amanda have control issues or issues with older women telling her what to do? So I'm going to answer that question. When someone has a life path 7, they generally do not want to be told what to do or how to do it. They want to do it themselves. It's like a process of self-discovery. They don't want to be confined by controlling people. They don't want to be manipulated by controlling people. And I think Amanda has issues with older women, or let's say women in authority, mother figures, who are telling her what to do. And I must say, when I looked at the day that Barbara passed away, which was July 28th, 2022, we have the 7, we have the 28, 10, 1, 6. Again, we have the fluxes of 6, 17, 8, and the 6 with the outcome 14, 5. Now, with that outcome 14, 5, whatever was said about the death was a lie. Okay? Was a lie. 5. Bullshit, deception, lies. Now, we can see the 28, 10, 1, and 6 pings directly on Amanda. The 10, 1 pings directly on Andrew as well. And they both have the double 6s. We note the 17, 8 on the July the 28th pings directly on Andrew. And the 7 from the July pings directly on Amanda. There are no coincidences here. So I actually asked, you know, because we're all aware of what happened with COVID, but I asked, so how did Barbara die? And the word I received was suffocation. Okay? The word I received was suffocation. Now, that 7 in the July 28th, that 7, I've highlighted it there in red, that is suffocation. So let's have a look here. Murdered by a male, 4. So murdered by a male, 4 with 17, 8. By suffocation, 7. And I would say spurred on by 28, 10, 1, 6 by Amanda. So if this is the case, that Amanda and Andrew saw an opportunist moment to commit murder, and if they are directly involved with Debbie Collier's case, we have ourselves a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde situation in that they are becoming serial killers. So let's have a look here. Now we bring up the word serial killers, right? So 16-7 and 17-8 are the outcomes for Amanda and Andrew respectively. Those are dangerous numbers when you're dealing with serial murders. 16-7, 17-8. So having those numbers, and I believe if they are not apprehended for at least Debbie's murder, these two are going to do it again. They are looking for opportune moments, and both Amanda and Andrew have the propensity for murder and to continue murdering. So in the case of Debbie Collier, the police are missing a great opportunity here. I believe these two have the propensity to go on, to continue in their murderous ways. That is Amanda and Andrew. And the authorities need to get these guys behind bars very quickly. We are seeing a pattern here. Double murder in the space of months. Amanda and Andrew are not nice people at all. All right, let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to read your comments. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and hit that notification icon so you get alerted for new uploads. And I would just like to say thank you for watching, and please stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.